Ini
Zoe.
I'm Dick.
Dick. Alright, and then I'm Jay.
Let's recap the journey so far. We started in Australia, we travelled through Timor-Leste, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and we've now just entered our 6th country, Myanmar. Now before we get into this video, there are a few things that are probably worth mentioning. Firstly, if you are travelling overland with your own vehicle, you cannot enter Myanmar unless you're accompanied by a local tour guide. At the time of making this video, there is still no way around this. Hopefully it'll change in the future. We chose to go with a company called Myanmar Census Family. All our correspondence before we got to Myanmar was with a guy named Zorman, but he wasn't the person who was our guide for the trip. It seems that there are freelance guides that work for many different companies, so it's probably just down to luck on who you actually get on the day. Both Myanmar Census Family and our particular guide were great. Comment below if you want their details. Now you have 2 options on the trip. You can choose to go on your own private tour, or you can join a group of other overlanders. We chose to join a group. Our decision basically came down to cost. It is much cheaper to join a group, and the more people in your group, the cheaper it's going to be. But you also get the added benefit of meeting like-minded travelers. It's also worth mentioning that you can negotiate the price. Learn to haggle. We found out that we paid much less than some of the other people in our group. This might be due to the fact that there were 2 of us, but either way, haggle, 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 haggle. We paid $390 each for our 5-day trip. This includes all your accommodation, some meals, and the tourist entry for the few attractions you do go to. There are different tour lengths. Obviously, if you're in a private tour, you can do whatever length you want. If you're in a group, the common options seem to be 10 days or 5 days. We chose 5 days. Again, it was only due to cost, but we do wish we had more time. Best way to find a group is to talk to the tour company and see if they have any trips planned that you can jump in on. Or Horizons Unlimited is a fantastic forum for overlanders, and you can either start your own group on there or find people who have started one already. But you'll need to be flexible. You also need to be prepared for cancellations. We were part of a group that pulled out and left us high and dry only a couple of weeks out. We were lucky to find another group. Now, although it's a guided trip, it's not really a guided trip. This is something we didn't know going into it. You'll see what I mean in the video, but you don't actually spend much time with the guide. You're kind of free to go and do what you want to a certain degree. Now, you've already met 2 of our fellow group members, Dick from Malaysia and Lee from Australia. They feature a fair bit in the next few videos, so you will get to know them well. Okay, let's have a quick look at the itinerary. So again, if you're part of a group trip, you don't have much control here. You're going to get told where to go, which roads to take, and which hotel to meet at the end of the night. The only choice you really have is kind of where you're going to stop to have a coffee or lunch and where you're going to eat dinner. Otherwise, it's pretty set in stone. I have to say, they do a pretty good job of trying to squeeze in the tourist attractions in the short time that we were there. Anyway, I've been talking for way too long. I'll shut up. Let's get back on the bikes. We may have over-ordered in our first meal in Myanmar. Yeah, we spoke to him. He said that this way, you can go this way. It's just obviously the roads aren't as flat and nice.
Yeah, this one's the rough road. But
GPS is showing that way. That's why we don't use GPS. The thing about these guided tours is that we don't get to choose where we stay, they kind of choose it for us. And it turns out they've done pretty well. Air conditioned, double fridge. It's not even like a small fridge, it's huge. The bathroom is probably about the same size as my bedroom in Sydney. It's massive. Okay, and here's the real kicker. There's a pool.
Not bad after a dusty day on the road.
So morning 2, we're up to see the Golden Rock. Not sure what's going on, but the thing is you can't drive up and you can't walk up, so we're going in these things.
Dime si tú quieres algo más. Dime si tú necesitas algo dulce para calmar esta noche. Va a ser loca. Esta noche va a ser la mejor de tu vida. Dime si te quieres acostar. Dime si tú quieres que yo haga algo con tu madre. Esta noche te doy un anillo. Por eso.
Yeah, we made it to the Golden Rock. The actual place itself is very cool. Only issue we have is the Golden Rock at the moment, which you can see behind me, has quite a lot of scaffolding on it. It's still a very cool area and I'm happy we came up, but yes, scaffolding.
Scenic coffee break.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Might take these guys to the bathroom, it's quite entertaining.
I do need a pee as well.
Well, just do it, because like chickens, you see the beds and everything. You gotta like climb over this rubble. There's a toilet in the back. It's very nice.
Bathroom down there? Thank you very much. Let me see, find this bathroom. Oh yeah. Hello. Oh yeah. Hey, there it is. The shrine. Cakes?
It's actually my second cake, I'm kind of cheating. We're just saying, we think this country is by far the cheapest one we've been to. These are 30 cents and they're very fancy.
Very fancy.
I've been to some fancy cake.
Looking good. I really am not a big fan of riding in the dark in these places. It's kind of busy highway, lots of bikes probably don't have their lights working. Anyway, the sun's down and we've got about an hour left to go, so it's kind of inevitable that we're going to be riding in the dark. Anyway, Captain Slow is lagging behind. Just going to wait for him to catch up and then I guess we'll press on in the dark. Ooh, I think this could be him coming now. find a nice luxury hotel. We wash our socks and our dirty shirts in the basin. Yes. Okay, so morning number 2 in Myanmar. This place is really cool actually. Not just this town, the whole country itself is really impressing us. The food's great, the people are great. Same as every place we've been so far, to be honest. The only difference is here we keep having to have tourist police guarding us around when we go see the attractions. So we're in Naypyidaw, which is the capital city. This is one place we both kind of wish we could spend a lot more time, but we've only got a couple of hours. So we're off to see the 20-lane highway.
Yeah. I want a house in the hills I pay big bills for. I ain't got in pocket. I want to empty out my wallet. I want to stop motion, stand still. Wallace and Gromit. I want to talk more endlessly. I want to neurotically vomit. I want more dollars from my mama. I want a palace in Prada. I want a Gucci bag where I can store my sorrows and hardships. I want to gold plate my finance. I want endless tomorrows. I want a lot more than I got right now. That's the problem. You could give me every little thing I'd ever want, but I'd never have enough till the day I had it all. You can give me every little thing I ever want, but I'd never have enough.
Bike pants and bare feet. It's a good look in these places. James kind of just walked around by himself for a little bit, and then we got back on the bikes.
Australia. Yeah. Passport, sure. That's pretty good. I'm back.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
How are you? Australia.
Oh, Australia.
Yeah.
So every now and then you get pulled over by these guys. They're all very lovely though. They just want to check your passports and press on. Luckily our little guide's back there, so he pulls in and then kind of lets them know that everything's kosher. There actually is a story of a German guy that tried to get in without a guide and apparently got arrested. Anyway, not much further to go until our next stop. Okay, so we've made it to Bagan. Now this is the place, if you've probably seen one photo of Malaysia, it'd be of this place.
Malaysia's probably not the right country.
Alright, so we made it to Bagan.
Yeah.
Now if you had to seen one photo of Myanmar, you've probably seen the photo of this place here. So I'll quickly show you what we're talking about.
So you see this place in Bagan is incredible. The view, scenery, all of Bagan looks amazing. The problem you have when you come to this place is about 15 busloads of tourists.
So we wrestled with the tourists for a little bit longer to try to get a good photo, but gave up after a while and went home. The next day we got a chance to put the drone up to have a better look at them. You need a few days in Bagan, not just a few hours like we had, but such is life. So onwards we go. So we've left Bagan and now we're heading towards Gangao, up the mountains towards India. reckon, James? Myanmar?
Absolutely love this place. I mean, it's sad we've got to do a tour, and we're only doing a 5-day tour, which is pretty rushed. But it's definitely the place I want to come back to the most of everywhere we've been so far. There's nothing I don't like about this place. It's ridiculously cheap. I think because it's relatively new to tourism, there's just like an innocence about everyone, and you know they're just not trying to rip you off in any way. They're just happy to see you and just chat to you. I absolutely love the place. Yeah, can't speak highly enough of this. So it's day 4 at the moment. We've just probably got an hour and a half left, and we've just been riding up through the mountains for the last couple of hours. And in typical J&I style, we've managed to stumble across a hut to chill out in. God knows what it's used for, but it's pretty big.
And parking for our bikes.
And parking for the bikes, which is nice.
I have to say, today's probably been one of my favourite days of riding we've had in a very long time. Malaysia and Thailand were just... I mean, the parts of Malaysia and Thailand that we did were kind of just big cities and highways.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of get into these mountain roads and just curvy, beautiful... Well, the roads themselves aren't the greatest, but still so much fun. It's bizarre here in Myanmar, like... There's so much awesome scenery around, but you can't see half of it. And I don't even know what that is.
No, like, well...
We'll show you. Check this out. So, beautiful scenery.
Smog.
Can't see shit.
I did ask our guide, and he said it was due to people doing a lot of fires, but I'm not... I mean, actually, you look around, there are a lot of fires, people smoking, but... I don't know if it's the smog from India and Bangladesh, because we're pretty close to them now, or if... I don't know.
It's the sunrise in Myanmar. It's crazy. You see all the smoke from all the fires around. The strange thing about this trip, this guided tour across Myanmar, is that it's not really guided at all. Basically what happens like this, every morning we all meet up at the front of the hotel, and our guide will give us kind of checkpoints along the map that we just cruise along. We might not see anyone else until we actually get to the hotel for the night. Which is, I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, it's bad in the way that I don't really understand why you need to have a guided trip across Myanmar, which costs a lot more money when you're actually on your own for most of the way, because I figured the idea is that you have a guide so that you can't go to places where they don't want you to go. It's good though, because it means we have the freedom to take our time and do what we want. I mean, if you had a group of 10 people and you had to all travel at the same speed at the same place and stop at the same points, the days would be long and you wouldn't really get to do the things you want to do. Whereas obviously James and I might stop and fly the drone around for a little bit, or take some photos, or just stop on a little side of the road to have some coffee and talk to the locals. So it's a good way. It's good in that way that you kind of get to do your own thing. But yeah, a bit strange. Guided tour. So basically in our group we've got 10 people.
Yeah, 10 people,
not including the guide. 10 tourists cruising along, and they've all kind of got interesting stories.
Yeah.
I mean, you know our story. We keep blabbering on about it.
It's quite boring, actually.
Yeah.
So these guys are riding 2 up on this tiny little bike all the way to Mecca for their pilgrimage. So quite near the beginning, but it's funny to see them both on there because it's such a small bike with 2 of them. Then we've got our big bikes. And one of the guys got a huge 1200 GS, just him on it.
And there's 2 of them.
You can see how well it's packed. Yeah, there's 2 of them on it. They have to keep stopping every 80 k's to refill with fuel, but they're having a great time. It's actually the same as these guys. There's another couple on a very similar bike doing exactly the same thing, pilgrimage to Mecca.
So that's they're going from Malaysia. So they're riding from Malaysia all the way to Mecca on tiny little 150cc scooters. It's unbelievable.
With 2 people on it, so it just proves you can do it on anything.
Yeah. Then you have Lee here. Lee.
Hello.
What's your story, Lee?
My story?
Yeah.
How long have you got?
Well, Lee's doing a similar trip to us, but in stages. And
Yeah.
you've been doing it for a lot longer than us in stages.
Yeah, basically. Try and continue that pattern. So this one terminates at Nepal. I'll go back home for a couple of months. And hopefully the next section starts in June. We continue from Nepal to at least Eastern Europe. So hopefully get into Europe.
So he does it in a very exciting way, which I actually quite like, where literally rides to, this time like I said, Nepal, and then just leaves his bike at a mechanic for months on end.
Yeah.
Goes home, works for a bit, comes back, does another little leg. It's a great way of doing it, because the problem, the way we do it, you can actually start getting a little bit, I wouldn't say bored, but it just becomes this daily routine of riding. Whereas if you do it, play them to fits like that, I think it keeps it exciting the whole
And
way.
Lee's bike is virtually homemade these days. I think
Yeah,
that's
Simplicity.
Oh, this is my favourite part of the whole bike. It's great.
yeah, this bike's got lots of stories to tell. How many Ks have you got on it?
70,000.
This is on a hard life as well.
Yeah. It's never actually let me down anyway. It's never not got there. So
Very nice.
it started life as an XR400.
And it'll end as a...
And that's what it, well, hopefully it ends up in the, as a museum
As a
piece
shrine.
at home with a sticker from every country. So,
Travelling very light.
yeah, as light as possible. We have Dick on the other hand.
Then there's Dick.
Dick
Hey! I got into an accident yesterday. Still alive.
So yeah, Dick had a little bit of an accident yesterday. His panniers are off the bike today in the van, but he's good. You're a little bit achy today.
Look at this. Yeah?
What?
Nothing.
So Dick, you're riding from Malaysia to where?
To Nepal. The
Yeah.
next. Drop the bikes. Maybe.
Not again.
Maybe. Not that kind of drop. And trying to go around the world. Don't know if I can make it though.
But to Europe for this one, yeah?
Yeah.
You might see us again somewhere on the road.
Might.
But his bike took a bit of a beating yesterday. Missing the front windscreen here. Small holes in the radiator. He's now holding on his dash plates with little tie wire. It's put pepper. This is a new trick that I didn't know. So leaking radiator.
Top tip from Lee.
Yeah, this is top tip from Mr. Frankenstein motorbike. Put a little bit of a pepper in there and it actually kind of might
Might block the hole.
block the hole a little bit
Small leak,
and keep you going for a little bit longer, because obviously to get this beast of a, I think it's a motorcycle, fixed in Myanmar, I don't think they've ever seen these kind of things before, so he's hoping to get to India to find a proper BMW mechanic that'll fix it for $250,000.
It was quite funny. I turned up yesterday and he just arrived and was rolling into a mechanic just around the corner. And he walked over and was like, "Oh, can you guys try fix this?" Literally 8 people swamped around the bike and they were just poking it. It's like, so
Cool.
clearly
Hold
had
on.
no idea.
And then the last group, it's this is a Malaysian guy and a South African woman, and they're the only ones in a car. They've actually the most experienced overlanders we've got on this group. They've literally traveled around the world by motorbike, and this is their first time they're traveling by car. They're going to Italy, and then from Italy they're going all the way down through to South Africa, which is just insane. They've literally gone all around Africa already, all around South America and Northern America, and now this trip from Malaysia, Italy down to South Africa. And this car is a beast.
Last but not least, we have to introduce our amazing guide.
Thank you so much.
So we're with Myanmar Census.
Myanmar Census.
Yeah.
You join. Thank you so much for visiting Myanmar. 5-day drive in Myanmar.
A whirlwind rush through Myanmar.
Yeah, just a little taste, but I think we're all very keen to come back. Everyone loves it here.
Thank you so
I mean,
much.
we've had to obviously do it through 5 days, but you definitely need more time. Like in Bagan alone would have been good to have 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, we should stay in Bagan
yeah.
tonight. It's
Tonight,
better. Yeah,
definitely.
tonight is better.
So it has been fast, it has been quick. This is the last day, and now we're heading to the border.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been it's been
Thank
a very
you. Really appreciate it.
really
Yeah,
great
thank you.
trip.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, that's it. It's time for us to now leave Myanmar. We've done all our documentation and stamped out. I think we're both quite sad to leave, to be honest. We've only been here 5 days, but I think we've both kind of fallen in love with the country. But I think I'll be back. Well, I hope to be back. I guess we're going to head over that little bridge now, and India's next. Onwards and upwards. Bring on the curries.
Yeah. Done and dusted. We'll see you on the next one. Just before we go, I'll put a quick breakdown of what we spent in Myanmar for the 5 days we were there. We basically averaged $129.50 per day, which is much higher than what we usually spend, but it's because of that $390 that went towards the tour guide. Anyway, thanks very much. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. See you in India.